Well, thanks for tuning in. And today we're going to talk about the number one thing that nearly all high school athletes are lacking. And yes, I could say aggressiveness, because so many high school athletes lack the ability to be aggressive when it matters most, or aggressive in any environment. Or I could also say application, because so many athletes have the skills and the talents, but they don't always know when and where to apply them. But that is not the number one reason, the number one factor that is keeping most high school athletes back. That number one factor is quite simply opportunity. So many athletes are in environments where they're not getting the chance to shine. And if you don't get the chance to shine, we'll never know if it's aggressiveness, or they lack application, or maybe they had it all along. So let's break down what we mean by opportunity. Quite simply, the opportunity to go out on the court and to do their thing. Why is this? Because so many parents put their players in bad situations when it comes to school selection. And I want to plug our free ebook. Go to jp3training.com, check out our free school selection ebook for the serious student athlete, and it will walk you through a step-by-step process, whether you're selecting a school for the first time or you're thinking about switching schools. There are a lot of criteria you need to consider when doing your due diligence and selecting a school, and that free ebook is going to walk you through it. So check that out. But today we're talking about why opportunity is something that most high school athletes don't have. And I tend to find that when parents and players select a school and they're not getting the playing time, there are three main reasons why they are not getting the opportunity to go out and showcase their skills. Number one is size, okay? Size is important, size matters. And basketball is a game of size. So you either need to have size or have the ability to play like you have size. As the saying goes, it's not the size of the dog in the fight, but the size of the fight in the dog. And if you are a smaller player, like I was, you have to have some pretty strong intangibles in order to overcome size. However, that is very difficult to manage, and often the lack of intangibles like confidence, leadership, aggressiveness is a result of having a lack of size. And so if a coach has two athletes and they're the same average aggressiveness, which most high school athletes have a range. They're on a range of average to a slightly above average aggressiveness. That coach is going to go with the larger player, with the taller, more rangier, maybe has better ability to jump. That coach is going to go with size, because at the end of the day, you're dealing with a closed and combined space. It's not long spaces like a football or soccer field, where you can overcome size with speed. Basketball is really more so about quickness, strength, and size. And so if your student athlete isn't getting the opportunity because of size, that is hard to overcome, especially in lieu of these other intangible assets. The other reason why a lot of student athletes aren't getting the opportunity to play is because of skill. They just lack the requisite skill set. Believe me, as an athletic director, we see this all the time, especially when we get into the high school arena and athletes have not been training for 3-4+ years. Nowadays, students are training from the age of 10 and up, if not before. And so even if you're 11 or 12 and haven't started training, your kid is a little bit behind the 8 ball. And so lack of skill and skill-based learning is a big reason why a lot of student athletes aren't getting opportunities. If you think about it, if you don't have the size, which most kids are average size or below average, then you need the skills, because that's what's going to cause you to stand out, whether that's the ball handling ability, the shooting ability, the IQ, the ability to defend, rebound, do all these different things to make an impact on the court. Obviously, if you don't have size or skill, you're going to have very low opportunities to play. Now, after size and skill, I would say the third most prevalent reason why most high school athletes aren't getting the opportunity, it's because of symmetry. At the end of the day, the opportunity to go out on that court, the 5 players that are chosen for that given moment, whether it be first quarter, fourth quarter, or anywhere in between is decided by one person and one person alone, and that is the team's head coach. And if your student athlete does not have a symmetry with the head coach, they're likely not going to play. Now, a lot of parents get this confused because that seems unfair, right? My kid shoots it better, or they've been to more practices, or they work harder, or they're a better teammate and have a better attitude. Guys, I see parents with these arguments all the time, and if those are your arguments, you really don't understand athletics, because the coach's job at the end of the day is to put the 5 best players that fit together for that particular moment in time on the court together. And that may mean that I may put a lesser player that's going to give a better player a better opportunity because they bring a certain skill set. So it's not just about who would win in a one-on-one contest, who shoots the best, who has one particular skill. It's all about symmetry with what the coach is wanting. And it is completely subjective. It is not at all an objective measure that anybody can ever say they know what the coach is thinking. Think about the Olympics this summer. Everyone thought that Jason Tatum deserved more minutes. However, it was Steve Kerr's choice to put the reigning NBA champion, first team, all NBA player, highest contract in the league guy on the bench. It was his decision. And you know what? They won gold. So who's to say that he was wrong? But we can also say that we may have still won gold with Jason Tatum playing, but that is Steve Kerr's decision. So many parents struggle with this. So many parents don't understand this dynamic. But in all honesty, it's the coach's number one function to select who's going to play and why. And a lot of times there's not a lot of rhyme or reason to it. It's just a feeling. If you're someone who's dealing with difficulty when it comes to symmetry with a coach, I've got a great new digital course entitled Dealing with Difficult Coaches. It's going to help you get the right mindset, perspective, and learn how to create the proper symmetry in order to be on alignment or in alignment with your team's coach. So check that out at jp3training.com. As a matter of fact, if you're interested in that, type coach in the comment and I'm going to send a free copy of the digital course to the first 10 who comment coach, COACH. So again, if you're lacking in size, skill, or symmetry, you're probably finding yourself in a situation where you're not playing a whole lot. And if that's the case, I've got 3 options for you in order to overcome this barrier of lack of opportunity. Number 1 is to get better, okay? So many student athletes and their parents refuse to even think of this concept. They think that, hey, we're good just as we are, and you may be, but you have to understand that sometimes situations are hard, life situations are hard, because we're being called to level up, to simply get better, whether that's in a skill, whether that's as a teammate, whether that's in symmetry with that coach and seeing it his or her way, whatever the case may be, learning to work with other people better. We're being called to level up, and sometimes we have to go back to the drawing board and just put on our big boy and big girl pants and say, you know what? It's time to improve. The other thing you can do is get bigger. Now, I know everyone can't dictate or necessarily affect how much they grow, but it's funny because there are some things you can do to impact your growth. Number 1, lifting weights and working on strength and conditioning, having a stronger cardio, stronger heart rate, the ability to jump higher, run faster, be stronger is the number 1 way that most student athletes can impact their size. So get into a good weight training program, add a good plyometric program, and look at some things you can do in order to impact your strength and conditioning. The other thing you can do is there's many studies that show that there are things you can do to impact your growth. When we think about it, high school athletes are in what I call growth mode automatically. I mean, their bodies are wanting to grow. A lot of times we cut off our ability to grow because of number 1, bad habits, whether that be lack of sleep, bad nutrition, and even bad thoughts. A lot of times students just think, man, I'm done growing because my mom's short or my dad's short. And often We never know. There's no rhyme or reason to what size you're going to be, but just know that during the high school years, kids' bodies are wanting to grow bigger and taller. And so there are many companies that have vitamins that have great proven results. You can research those for yourself. I'm not pumping or I'm not pubbing any here, but I know that these things exist, and I know many people who have used them and they've worked. I know that better habits work as well. Getting to bed on time, having a well-balanced nutrition. A lot of times the putting stressors on our body like plyometrics or like lengthening exercises, hanging exercises, all of these things can help. The summer between my freshman and sophomore year, every night before bed, I did stretches. I hung off my bed and I would do push-ups and sit-ups to stimulate my body's growth. And I grew 3 inches and gained like 15 pounds that summer. Now, how much of that was just pure nature, or how much of that was enhanced by my actions, or how much of that was even enhanced just by my thinking and being on the same wavelength as far as growth? Who knows? But I know that I did grow a lot that summer after I focused on it. And so that may be something that is helpful for you or your student athlete as well. Lastly, after you've thought about getting better and you've thought about getting bigger, next, you may need to consider getting bonded. And bonded means just getting out of there. At the end of the day, sometimes situations just aren't the right fit for nobody's fault at all. It just is what it is. Maybe they're a great team of huge players, and you've got a small fry who just needs more access to opportunities. Well, the best thing you could do is start to do your due diligence to get that environment right. And that's where our free ebook, School Selection for the Serious Student-Athlete, will help you to not only navigate that process, but we've got digital courses as well that will kind of walk you through the process and help you understand what you need to be looking for, because it's not 1980. It's not 1990 where you just go to the school across the street and you just go to the school where all your friends are going. There are a lot of factors to determine and consider when making these huge pivotal decisions, because at the end of the day, the number one thing most high school athletes lack is opportunity. And they lack opportunity because the environment's not right for whatever reason. Maybe it's something that can be fixed, or maybe it's something that can't be fixed. But if we can help you through this process at all, feel free to reach out to us, and don't forget to like and subscribe and do all that YouTube-y stuff, and we'll see you on the next video.